Hello there, good morning, and welcome to the Learning Pro Live. My name's Cath Ellis, and I've had a few weeks off, which has been great. I've been watching the election and we've just come out of lockdown, so I've been just taking it easy, and it's been great. So I apologize for being away for so long, but I'm back and I'm raring to go. We've got a few people tuned in, so let us know where you're tuning in from. Is it going to be the usual suspects? I think so. But today we are going to talk about when you will know it's time to quit your job. I get asked this all the time. Loads of people want to know, is this the right time? And I want to just talk through my experience, what I went through, and hopefully it'll help you out. So, quitting your job isn't something that is taken lightly. To go freelancing, you really need to be ready for it. And when I talk to my wife about, where I am now and where I was when I quit my job, she says to me, you probably could have quit a long time before you actually did. There was a few things that I had in place that really helped me and gave me the confidence. I think she was more confident than me to actually quit. So if you're tuning in and you're in that position, you're kind of interested, you don't even have to acknowledge that. Maybe you don't want me to bring your name up. But if you are, in that position and you want to have a chat with me, this is a Q&A. You can ask me anything, what I went through. I'm going to talk through basically how I prepared myself. How you going, Joseph? Lovely to have you from Columbus, Ohio. I'm presuming that it's getting cold now. It's getting really warm here in Australia now. Oh, thank you. Love those cute red cheeks. Yeah, I've just noticed I've got something on my face. I don't know what that is. Anyway, doesn't matter. So quitting your job. Took me a long time. I think probably I should have quit my job a year before I actually did. And there was a few things that I did to get myself ready. And the key thing for me was portfolio. So I'm going to show you. I'm going to share my screen. And I'm going to show you what I had. If this works. All right, so let me just share this with you. All right, so my website didn't really change all that much, but I did refine it. I did when I did become a freelancer, I did work on different things like branding. And in our episode on Friday, we're going to focus on how I chose to go with my name, why I didn't go with a business name, how I designed my logo, and just all of those intricate things that you need to do to get your business set up. So this isn't really about that, but what I do want to talk to you a little bit about is the kind of examples of work that I had and the traction that I had coming through my website. Just bear with me one moment. Okay, so I already had a number of portfolio items in my website. These weren't examples of, you could say, real work that I had done. Some of these older examples were just passion projects. So I basically had a couple of things that I had just taken from Articulate. So at the time, they brought out a slider activity, and I just did a little kind of wellness activity. And I did it a Manchester City theme because I'm a huge Man City fan and thought that it looked quite nice. I had Again, another bespoke quiz that I just did as a kind of Manchester City theme, that when it loaded, it brought the logo in, it had some audio in the background, and it just had a couple of questions and then it wrapped up. But again, they were all really nice aesthetic examples. I showed it, I mean, some of the stuff has been taken away, but I actually was looking for open source tools as well to show that it wasn't just e-learning that I could do. It was, you know, I worked on a project called the eLearning Squad, which was an LMS, and showcased that. This was a tool that was Night Lab, that Northwestern. So these were just examples of work. Now, the reason that I'm talking about this is what landed me loads of people reaching out, asking if I would do freelance work, and I was full-time, and I was rejecting all of this work. Okay, so I built a little calculator. I did this minifigure matching game that was kind of cute. You know, it was Lego themed. Again, I really love, I'm a bit of a nerd, so I totally love Lego. I'll show you this. So these weren't real e-learning or traditional e-learning examples. You can see this. Right, you can see that this was just a game. So had a little bit about me. I had these little buttons, had the instructions, what they needed to do to play. This is taking a long time to load. We'll come back to it. So just having examples like this that were good examples of different experiences were great. You know, I had this matching game as well. Is this loaded yet? So you could see Find Santa Claus. You know, you went through, and if you didn't know, you could click on this to see what Santa looked like. You know, there you go. So you get the idea, right? But really good little examples. Janet's asking, how do you manage the permission for sharing your work in your portfolio? So these, Janet, were just my personal creations, okay? This was just a fan-made item, right? And you can see that actually in the blurb, I'm a gigantic Lego nerd. Yes, you heard me right. I decided to create this game using Lego components. It was great fun to build. So I'm not saying I made it for Lego. I'm not doing anything like that. I'm just showing a little creation that I've done. Okay. So I'm trying to just show that this is how I got started out. I didn't overthink it. I just created little things that I thought were really, really cute. I did work on a project that was public facing. It was the Transport Accident Commission. It was a course that was called Towards Zero. So because that was public facing, I was able to share that. Okay. But I couldn't share anything for the company that I worked for in the past. So I essentially had an older version of this website. And remember, with everything, you update and you update and you refine. So I had this website and I had these examples. And, you know, again, this was a little thing that I did on the ADDIE model. And this was a course estimator. And this was a website. And this was a Evolve course that I just made. A couple of websites. So it's basically up to here at the point of me quitting my job. Okay. So I'm getting lots and lots of requests through the website, through LinkedIn. Am I available for work? And I said, no, I'm not. I'm working full time still. I can work on the weekends if you're interested in working with me. And at that point, I saw that the eLearning brothers were looking for designers. And I reached out to them and I said, I'd be interested. I'm working full time, but I'd be interested in doing some projects with you if you are. So I took on some work with the eLearning brothers, and that gave me a lot of confidence. They knew that I was working full time, so I was able to basically say to them, I can work in the evenings, I can work on the weekends if that works for you. And I worked on a number of projects with them, and I saw, yeah, this worked really well for me. I was able to see another organization, how they do things. I'd obviously worked for an agency before, so I knew how they did things. And I said, okay, I've done my first freelance work and I like it. I was able to meet the timelines. The client was very happy. I was able to implement projects really well. That led on to more clients coming in. Okay. And at that point, I started refining my brand. I started looking out there to see how other freelance designers were branding themselves. I'm pretty sure if I look at my old logo, it was more of a stamp. It wasn't quite as refined. I was able to also really showcase. I started focusing on showcasing a lot of my work through the website in itself. So that little project that I did for the eLearning brothers, I think this is a screen capture from it. It was a caffeine challenge. And I don't think this is, here's some screens from it. So you would select your character, and you started the quiz, and you basically, I think you dragged, this was what it said, and you dragged the statement into the bin or something like that. It was pretty cute. And then this was the second one that was outside the front of the coffee, and you dragged the cup into the bin. I don't know, something like that. So it was great to kind of work with another organization. So I'd say, at that stage, I probably was a year beyond where I should have given this a go. I should have done it a lot earlier. So I want to encourage you, when you're feeling the way that I was feeling, and guys, I know that people are tuned in here, so let me know if you can relate to this. When I was ready to quit, I was so unhappy at work. I felt like I was always pushing the place that I worked to innovate. Can we do this? Can we do VR? Can we do AR? I've got this idea. Could we do something different? Why does this need to be e-learning? Why can't we make it a video? Why can't we make it something more of a marketing experience? Why does it need to be, and I was getting so kind of aggressive, you could say. I was so frustrated. I'd sit with the designers, and some of the designs were so conservative and boring, and the language that I was using was, why can't this look more like an app? And it's not sexy, it's not interesting. It was just really frustrating. And I think at that stage, because I left my work and I went and worked somewhere else for a year where I was equally as unhappy. I think at that stage, that should have told me it's time to start working on what you need to start working on. And that is where my portfolio came in, working on my brand. I started thinking about my values as well. I want to show you this because I don't think it's something that a lot of people really focus on. But you can see on my About Me page, I really started thinking about my values, just like any other business, right? You know, what was I about and how would I work? Did I just want to take on any job, even if I didn't feel like it was a good learning experience, and still go ahead and do it? Did I want to create the kind of content that I absolutely hated doing as a freelance designer? I didn't want to be creating courses that have narration. Obviously, accessibility is a bit different, but narrating every single word on a screen, this stuff that was mind-numbing, that was just click next to continue, didn't want to do it. So I started thinking about how I was going to position myself. So I said, honesty. If I can't assist you, I'll be totally honest, right? And I've stood by that. I said another value was quality. I'll do everything that I can to provide you with great quality. Respect. I'll treat you how I would like to be treated, okay? And innovation. I'll keep learning new skills to provide you with the best solution. So this was really important to me, and I've tried to do this as a freelancer. If there's been projects that have come in that I felt are not good learning experiences and the client was not willing to use my expertise to refine this solution, and again, this is my opinion, but for someone who doesn't find learning easy, I know, I have a feeling that something is not going to be a good experience. So I try and be honest with the client and try to make as many refinements to that as I can. Those of you that are tuning in, let me know if this makes sense to you. But this certainly helped me think about how I was going to position myself and offer my services to my client. I also wanted to focus on really creating high quality products. And I'll talk to you about some of my challenges at the beginning. Oh, great to have you here, Caitlin. That's great. Awesome. I'm glad you're enjoying it. Ask me questions if you've got questions, okay? Now, the respect thing as well was really, really important. Okay, so I've got some questions coming in here. The respect thing was really important, okay? I wanted to be really, really honest with my clients. Again, but I knew how frustrated I got in the end of working for other people. I felt like I was just going to be really transparent with them, and it was something that I knew I needed to work on, and obviously innovation. So Caitlin's saying those in corporate deal with this constantly, unfortunately. It's really frustrating. It's really frustrating. So there was a reason that I wanted to, obviously really be able to say to a client, look, I think we need to work on this, or can I talk about how this learning experience is going to, can we talk about how effective this learning experience is going to be? I remember, I'll tell you guys, I remember talking to my boss before I left one of the places that I did, and it probably was a little bit aggressive, but they said to me, I think we need to do more templates. We need to do more templated courses because we can sell more of them. And my response was, and it was so aggressive, I said, I think that I think our clients should just flush that money down the toilet because they're not going to get anything from it. And he just looked at me. And it's honestly how I feel. You know, there's loads of us that are out there that are just really trying to create learning experiences that are going to create behavioral change. And I didn't want to be going and just churning out the same stuff that I had done before. Now, Nicole is saying, how often are you refining your brand? I get stuck feeling like it's not perfect, so I can't start. I almost feel like I need to be an expert in all things. So we're going to talk about branding, how to brand your own business in the next episode on Friday. Okay. And I'm going to talk about how often I rebrand. I actually haven't rebranded, Nicole, since I started out as a freelancer. So I've been freelancing for 4 years. Had my website a lot longer than that, but this current brand, the website hasn't changed too much. Okay, so we're going to come back. But Nicole, you should tune in 12 o'clock. So the same time, 12 o'clock Australian Eastern Standard Time on Friday. And I'm going to be talking about how I went about branding the business, okay? But it was a big part of it. Now, Angela's saying, how many clients did you have when you stepped out on your own? Angela, I had none. Like I said to you, about 6 months before I actually called it a day, I had work that I was doing with the eLearning brothers, which was great. And that was really from project to project. But again, when you start working with an external company, you know, if it's an agency that's hiring you in, if you've done a good job and they're happy with you, they'll just offer you another piece of work and another piece of work and another piece of work. I didn't particularly want to work for agencies because I felt like the money that they earn off my services, I could earn myself. So I started out at a very low price point and I worked my way up. So I'll tell you a story. I knew that my website was generating enough traction, but some of the jobs were really crap, right? I had a client reach out to me, and I think I've told this story before, who wanted something like 7 compliance courses, and she had 12,000 Australian dollars. And, you know, without being rude and laughing at her, you know, I was starting out. So I was like, oh, you know, and I just said to them, well, look, why don't you go to I said, why don't you go to a agency and buy off the shelf compliance products, you know? And they said, well, the thing is that to buy them outright, they're like $7,500. And I said, yeah, so you're expecting me to do, you know, 7 of them for 12 grand. Like, it's laughable. But what I did was I said, okay, well, this could be a good opportunity. So I basically said to the client, okay, look, I can work with you doing the development, but you guys will have to do a lot of the content. And with it being compliance, I need you to make sure you go through your legal team. I need for you to give me all the assets that you're wanting. And I'm literally just doing the development. And it's all going to look the same. The GUIs are going to be the same. Fonts, the page layouts are going to be the same. I'm just curating the content into it. But that even seemed way too hard for the client. And just through that experience, I learned so much. My next client reached out to me, who was based in the States, who said, you know, I put some little bits up about Beyond. They were saying, we want some Beyond training. Great. So, Angela, I felt like one job just went straight into the next job, So I wasn't too concerned. I was actually supporting my wife at the time as well. So just work seems to come your way. I've never gotten to the point where I've needed to reach out and ask anyone for work. But if I needed to, my game plan was to reach out on LinkedIn to businesses that I was interested in working for and just letting them know that I was available for freelance work. But thankfully, it hasn't been an issue. Now, my favorite guy, Troy, has said, I love the fact that you have these values on your site, especially the honesty and quality pieces. Yeah, it really, there's something else that I think I need to put up, Troy, soon, which is my vision and my values, So even the vision behind the Learning Pro Live is to try and help learning designers on their journey by talking about my experiences, getting other learning designers on to talk about their experiences and showcasing tools. So I think that, my vision and my mission, for my company is still something that I'm working through, but I think the values were very important. Caitlin, I don't think I'd be the perfect boss. I'm pretty sure my boss absolutely hated me. She said, oh my God, my boss just moved to templates. We've been butting heads. Frustrating is to be just putting something together. Yeah, I don't know why businesses think that one size fits all is an approach that they should be taking. I actually think you should be niching down a lot more. So part of the reason why a lot of people reach out to freelancers instead of going to a model like Go One or looking in, let's say, Kineo's course catalog, for example, is that when they look at that product, it doesn't talk directly to them. So if we just talked about the travel industry, let's say it was a cruise line that needed a course on, maybe this is a bad example, maybe a cruise line, or, you think about the disability sector or a hospital are looking for a course on health, safety and well-being. These generic courses off the shelf, they're not talking specifically to that industry. Where I think it would be so much smarter is if an industry, let's say your boss, Caitlin, said, we are going to create a suite of courses for hospitals on bullying and harassment and things like that. I think that's targeted much better. So I think, though, that sometimes people, they'll say things like, I want to create a templated induction for all industries. And you just say to yourself, that isn't going to work. If you did it specifically for the disability sector or for teachers, for a school, for example, you could sell that template probably a lot easier because you're targeting directly to a specific cohort. So I hope that helps. And maybe that's something that you can convince your boss to do. So Janet says, was your portfolio the only strategy you followed in order to get freelance? What other strategies did you follow? So definitely trying out freelance first. So taking on some projects. So what I'd recommend is if there's organizations that you're really interested in working for. So for example, I wanted to work for Sponge UK and I reached out to them and I said, really want to work for you. Think you guys are absolutely fantastic. Do you have any jobs? And they said, unfortunately, we need people to be in the UK, even though you are British, need for them to be in the UK and somewhere office space. Now, guys, COVID has changed everything. So I would say if you want to work for a company, bloody do it. Just reach out to them. Say, I want to do some freelance work. Do you have any projects? I also wanted to work for Learning Pool at the time. I think Learning Pool is a phenomenal company, and I've got a great relationship with Learning Pool now through just my, I use a lot of their Adapt product. I use Adapt, and I've talked about their products at conferences like DevLearn and things like that. So yeah, Learning Pool were the same, we kind of need people to be local. Sweet Rush, reached out to them. And a lot of this was the same. Now I'm in a position where I don't do so much work for other companies. Okay. But now is the time. If you want to see if this is for you while you're still working full time, reach out to some of these organizations. They're always looking for good freelancers. If you've got a good portfolio that you can showcase, like I did for the eLearning brothers, that was a great conversation when I jumped online. I jumped on a Zoom and, here's my portfolio, here's some examples. And they wanted kind of gamey stuff. So they loved the little Lego minifigure, and they were like, oh, this looks quality. Your website looks nice and clean. Yeah, great. So you just need to get into that first one, Janet, so yeah, the portfolio I had for a while. And you know what? If you guys don't have a portfolio, you need to get onto it. I know that there are people who are saying you don't need a portfolio. Don't listen to them. You need a portfolio. You need something to have content. I will tell you that if I go to someone's website and they do not have an example of their work, I have no faith in what they can do. None. So make sure that you get something up, whether it is a Google site or you use an Adobe portfolio. If you've got a Creative Cloud account, that's free. You can knock these things up really quickly. And every couple of weeks, I'll be doing portfolio reviews again. So get onto it. If I may even, through this series, which I'm calling Going Freelance, I might focus on creating some portfolios live, continuing to do that. So Nicole obviously went somewhere. She's back. Great to have you back. Troy, templates. I know, Troy, honestly, I don't know what makes people think that a templated approach is the right answer. I think templates are great to get you started, but then you need to add the value to it. Okay, so Caitlin says he feels that regardless of the content, they all need to function and look the same. Interaction is not important. I thrive on professional development. Yeah. And again, one size does not fit all. Caitlin, you look sometimes, and I've done it in the past, right? I've had clients, again, reach out to me. You've had a very small budget. And I've kind of offered them different things, So, and again, if this is what you can do as a freelancer, Devlin's just signed on and Troy's signed on here, watching this live with us. They're doing the same thing. They offer advice. The years that you have worked in the industry, you've got a lot of knowledge. You can sell time as consultation to even get you started, right? So you could, Devlin's got, I'm pretty sure, a calendar that you can book. Troy has got a calendar, I'm pretty sure. If you want to start out just by giving advice, you could say, I'm doing reviews of, if someone would like a e-learning module reviewed, I'll give feedback, and you charge a set figure for that, whether it's, you know, $1,200, something like that. And you potentially review the content and you give them feedback. There's lots of things that you can do. If you're still working, you can still get started in one way or another. So Caitlin says SweetRush is amazing. Yeah, they're a great company. Adobe Spark is free. Yep, Adobe Spark is free. Adobe Portfolios was what I was talking about as well. That you have to have a Creative Cloud, but it's great. So Ben's saying, hi, Cath, do you freelance for large enterprises? Apology if you've mentioned, I've just jumped on. Yeah, so, you know, large enterprises, I've had lots of work for larger organizations as well as small organizations. So, you know, ASOP was one of my clients. That's a huge multinational organization. I've had clients like Year Up. I did a lot of work for them, in which I was actually more of a support mechanism for the learning designer. So they bought a number of hours worth of consultation from me. And then when the learning designer needed a question answered or wanted me to review something or to give feedback or advice, she just booked in time and it came off her tally. And that worked really well. So there's lots of things that you can do in this transition to going full time. A Year Up were actually one of my first clients as well. You know, they reached out to me. They said, you know, we really like some of the stuff that you're doing on LinkedIn in your portfolio. Are you interested in doing bits of work for us? So I taught them how to use Beyond and basically help them with their storyline templates and things like that. Devlin's said +1 for needing a portfolio. Devlin's actually got some fantastic resources on his website, devlinpeck.com. And he's been writing lots of great articles. You should definitely go and check his content out. And Troy Ashman as well has got a fantastic portfolio. You know, troyashman.com. Go and have a look at his content. He's got some great learning experiences. And I'm saying learning experiences because part of this going freelance, I want us to talk about how we can move away from just offering e-learning as a solution for everything. We need to look at what solutions are out there. And I want to encourage you to start playing and learning different tools and working out how you can offer these. So Angela said, I have about 3 clients right now as a freelancer while I work full time. What did your team look like when you stepped out on your own? So Angela, I was in a very lucky position where I understood the process from woe to go, and I also could do the dev work. Now, this isn't going to be always this isn't always going to be the case that you can do that. So I was basically, it was just me. I could do most things. If there were things I couldn't do, for example, I did a kind of first person point of view video shoot for a health, safety and well-being course. If you can imagine, it was a bit of it looked like a video game in which the individual, it was their point of view, right? So they were making decisions what they needed to do next. I didn't have the capability to do that, or I could have, but it might have looked a bit crap. So I just went out and I hired someone who I used to work with. So what I'd encourage you to do is think about your network that you have right now. There'd be nothing's stopping you reaching out to someone, Angela, if you couldn't do dev work, like myself or Devlin Peck, or to Troy Ashman and say, hey, could you do this build? Or you see Troy can building glide apps or different things like that. You might reach out to Troy and say, hey, how much would it cost for you to do this part? You might reach out to someone like Devlin if he needed code. At least this is the way that I would work. If I needed someone to do some advanced XAPI work, I might reach out to Devlin because I know that he's an expert in that field, right? So that's how my model worked. I didn't have a project manager. And I also, Angela, wanted the business to, I didn't want this business to grow much more than me, right? I didn't want this to be a company. I wanted to just be a solo freelancer. I wanted to be able to go on holiday when I wanted to and be able to work from there. I wanted a whole change of life. You know, my life had been commuting 2 hours each way to work. It was awful. I wanted to just be able to work from home when and where I wanted. So Troy's just, so I hope that answers your question. Because I feel like as long as you understand your process, and we'll again be focusing on this journey about different tools that I use, the equipment that I purchased. You know, I just want to take things in baby steps. But you don't have to have your shit together from day one. It will evolve. You might go, God, I've hired someone, I've hired a freelancer, and I never want to do that work again. You know, so I think it's better to kind of take baby steps and do what you like doing. And then as you've got different jobs coming in, you know, you might have a client who says, I want a VR or AR experience. And you go, oh, great, I've never done that before, but I'd be very interested in doing that. That's when you go and you partner up with a specialist to do that. So let me know in the comments if that made sense, Angela. I want to make sure that is helpful. Troy is saying portfolios are so important to showcase your skills, but I appreciate it can be daunting to get started. And absolutely right. I mean, Troy's just in the last 6 months updated his brand. He's revamped his website, looks schmicko, and you know, so is Devlin. In fact, this has been the perfect time right now with COVID for people to invest that little bit of extra time that they've got, since a lot of us are in lockdown, into updating things like our project. And like I said to you, you don't need to overthink the portfolio items. I think that clients actually want to see something different. They don't want to see this traditional e-learning. And again, I'm going to talk in another episode about how and this is maybe a little bit controversial, think that tools like Articulate Storyline are some of the best investments that you can make. Articulate Storyline is a blank canvas, so you can do anything with it. So I'm going to be doing some kind of let's build. We're going to create some different courses and learning experiences, or just experiences. They don't even need to be learning, okay? Okay, so looking forward to the portfolio episodes. I've got the video examples up, but really struggling with showing the project management side of ID.
Sorry, I'm having trouble hearing you.
Go away, Siri. Looking forward to the portfolio. I've got the video examples up, but really struggling with showing the project management side of ID. So we'll focus a little bit more on that as well, okay? Project management doesn't need to be as daunting as it sounds. And I'll be talking a little bit about how I manage my products and different tools that really help me with productivity and organizing my things. So in the beginning, I took a lot of cues from companies like the one that I'd worked for. Even my experience with the eLearning brothers, they were using Basecamp as their communication device. With the other learning designers, they were using Dropbox. They were using just Microsoft Documents for their storyboards. It was nothing groundbreaking. And I think in the 4 years since then, yes, I'm using different tools, but it's not a massive investment. And I want as well for you to understand that you don't have to, most of you have tools just on your computer that you can work with from going free, from deciding to go live. Okay, so you don't need to have a massive amount of tools. I'm still using the same templates, the storyboard template and my learning strategy template and course overview template that I did 4 years ago. That was one of the things that I did when I decided to go freelance. I wanted to have my templates ready. Now, let me see if I can even show you some of these templates. I'll just turn this off for a second so I can find them. But might be another episode, actually. It might take me a while to find them. Let me see. It's probably going to take me a few minutes to work out. But those are some of the things as well that I made sure that I had ready. Now, for those of you, oh, John, I missed your comment. What are you saying here? I can't copy this link, unfortunately. What is this that you show me, John? If you're still here, let me know. I can't copy that, unfortunately. I can't copy that link. Maybe it's your portfolio. Let me see. Nomads. MX. Maybe this is your Nomads Learning. So I'm thinking this might be your business. But anyway, you just let me know if you just let me know if this is your business. If you wanted me to look at it, I'm happy to definitely reach out and do maybe a portfolio episode with you, or if there's something else you want me to see. So I think the thing that you really need to think about, guys, is, is this something that is just you're thinking about all the time? You are ready to go, but you're just really scared. I didn't have any money behind me. My thought process on this was, what's the worst that can happen? I quit a job that I'm unhappy in at the moment. If this doesn't work out, I'm not having to invest in anything. I already have a computer. I already have Articulate Storyline. Okay, I maybe don't have any other authoring tools. Again, this is a whole other episode on what authoring tools are out there and why I chose to use certain authoring tools. But the worst thing that could happen is you quit your job. You start trying to do some freelance work. You've already tried it while you're working full time, so you don't do it straight away. Take some freelance work on. Make sure you're happy kind of doing freelance work. Are you finding it too difficult not having someone that you can bounce ideas off? Have you got someone in your network that you can replace that kind of role with. I found that a little bit hard, not having a digital designer that says, what do you think of this? But you've got people in your network, right? You can ask them to review things. You've tried it, you like it. The worst thing that can happen is you try to do freelance, you suck at it, you have projects that go out of scope, you learn and you go, I'm never going to do that again. I'm going to refine my contract so that this never happens again. No one's perfect. So you keep refining it. And you know what? If you hate it, you go back into the industry. There's no harm. But what I'll say, it was the greatest day for me to be able to go to my boss and write a resignation letter that says, I'm leaving because I'm starting my own business as a freelance learning designer. And you know what? That business hired me to do work, right? Because they knew that I was good. So you just have to think about your mindset right now. Is this something that you really want to do? Have you already tried to do a little bit of freelance on top of full-time work? Did it work well? Sometimes businesses aren't, sometimes, other organizations don't quite have their shit together either. So, was it a good experience? Did you try somewhere else? Do you feel like you can do this? Great, go for it. You don't have to worry about investing in tools. Tools, I feel like Trello boards, and most of these tools have free tiers. Okay, so myself, I do all my project management in Trello. All of my documents, even my storyboard, are in Google Docs. Okay, I have an Amazon S3 in which I host products. It costs pennies, guys. It costs pennies, Amazon S3. Yes, I invest in, Google Creative Cloud. It's 79 Australian dollars a month, which is a whopper, but I'm in it all day, every day. So I use nearly all the tools. You don't need it though. There's free tools that are out there that you can use. Your email and hosting is a minimal amount, right? A domain name. And again, it's through this going freelance, I'm going to be talking about, the next one is going to be branding. So I'm going to be talking about how I picked my domain name, where I bought my, website domain name from, how I registered my business, all of that good stuff, right? So we're just going to take it in baby steps. And if there's things that you want to see, you can put them in the comments below. Let me know, and I'll focus my episodes on this. But right now, I'm pretty sure you'll know if it's time for you to do this. You're just scared. And I'd encourage you to think about who the companies are that you want to work for. Get good examples into your portfolio. Share it with them. Make sure that in your portfolio, you've contextualized your role, what you did in these little pieces of work. And again, we'll be focusing more on this in the portfolio episodes. So just make sure you subscribe so you get notifications about what's coming up next. And we will just keep working through this process, okay? But I have to say, before I wrap this up, that I've never been so happy. I love that I can choose the projects that I want to take on. Yeah, Angela, that's a great. Angela's just saying the legal side of it, such as contracts. So I'll talk about contracts as well. And I don't want to just skim over this stuff in a few minutes. I want to do dedicated episodes of this stuff. So I'll do an episode on how to create a contract. All right. I also want to talk in quite depth on screw ups, things that I've totally screwed up since I've started, things that I won't do again, people that I won't work for. And I'm saying that in the sense of I don't do a lot of work with agencies because my price point is going to be too high. They're not going to want to work with me because I don't want to come down and charge lower for someone else finding the work. I've got enough work coming through my channel. Okay. So there's a lot to cover, right? But, oh, Mother Sear is here. Hashtag learning curve. Absolutely, Mother Sear. And I hope that your new job is going well as well. I can't wait to hear all about it. I'm watching Mother Sear sharing his journey. He's in the States at the moment, and it's been great to seeing your photos. So, you know, having the flexibility, guys, to be able to say to a client, okay, so you've done your own, you know, needs analysis, and this is what you've come up with. And to be able to work with the client and dig a bit deeper. I think L&D is really interesting. I think it's quite conservative. I think learning needs analysis is something that people find very difficult. I think they point to the direction of e-learning for a lot of things that it's not actually required. Okay. And I think that I've enjoyed being able to work with clients and be able to identify better solutions, better directions, ones that have made an impact within the business. You know, where a client has come and they've said, you know, I want to, oh, thank you, Mother Sear. You know, where a client's come and they've said, you know, we're wanting, I'll give you an example. You hear it all the time. You know, we're needing this document put online into an e-learning course. We want a big, long, summative assessment at the end that someone needs to pass. And it's just, you know, we want all the pages read out, things like that. It's just horrible, right? So I'm going to try and impart as much as I can the kind of conversations that I have with clients, the kind of recommendations that I give, and the way that I go about workshopping with them to come up with better solutions. So it's going to be an exciting series, guys. I hope you tune in. And I also got some feedback that I was doing too many videos. So I've cut this down to Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. But if you miss it, you can always come back and watch it again. Troy has got to jet. Oh, you're welcome, Troy. Glad to have you here, Troy. Thank you very much. But we're going to try and knock this down, little bite-sized videos. And if there's things that you want to learn about, make sure that you write them in the comments below. If you've got questions for me, you can reach out to me independently or put them in the comments in the video. I'm happy to help. If you need any support, if you need anything, you just reach out and I'm happy to do as much as I can. Anyway, this has been 1 hour. I'm going to cut this off now. Thanks for tuning in, guys. I hope this has been helpful. If you're feeling the same way, start reaching out, start preparing this portfolio. If you need help with portfolios, we're going to do episodes on it, okay? And we're going to help you on this freelance journey. It's the best thing that I ever did, and I'm positive that you'll feel the same way. Anyway, have a great day, guys. Adios, and I'll talk to you on Wednesday. Bye.